duties and all other things. Now you have to take on the fight. That is what is the message of Lord Sri Krishna to Arjuna. And further, Lord Sri Krishna continues, Ya enam vetti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhautau na vijanito nayam hanti na hanyate. That is, Lord says, Ya enam vetti hantaram. That is, if somebody feels that I am killing that person, or that person has killed so and so person, if somebody claims like that, both of them do not know. That is, if somebody says I am killing or making him to die, or somebody says that somebody is killing this person, in that case both of them, they do not know the real knowledge, because the soul doesn't qualify for destruction itself. That is, no one can destroy the this soul. It is eternal, including the gods. Nobody will destroy, because it is not meant for that one. It is meant for permanent stay in its full form, so it will stay like this only. So that is what Lord Sri Krishna says here. If somebody claims like that, I have killed that person, or this doesn't, this, see, this can give to wrong meanings also. If somebody goes and kills somebody and starts claiming that, see, Lord Sri Krishna says that I cannot kill somebody, so hence I have not killed, so he has already killed that person. So meaning should not be applied to such wild minded bad people, or with such crooked mentality. The meaning of this is that Atman cannot be killed by anybody, Atman cannot be destroyed by anybody. Now, what is the meaning of this one? Further meaning of this one. Now, Arjuna is feeling that he is killing so many enemies, so he will become a part of the sin, or he will accrue a lot of sin to him. Lord Sri Krishna says, even though you kill, consider that you are killing Bhishma, you are killing Duryodhana, you are killing Dronacharya, or all these animals. Even if Arjuna's arrows are killing them, you need not have to worry for accruing risk of accruing the sins. The reason being, you are doing a fight for a virtuous cause. You are doing a dharma yuddha. In dharma yuddha, what is your intention or motto? To bring in justice, to bring in peace, to establish normalcy, to establish harmony in the world, to protect the woman, to protect the child, to protect the property of that particular person. Because Duryodhana had snatched the properties, has killed so many enemies for expansionism, for no good reason, or disrobed the woman. So many such acts he has already done. He has poisoned the people, so land grabbing he has done. So all these acts he has done. So because of that, you have to fight, not because he is just your ex-enemy. It is because you are a king, your duty is to establish the peace in the kingdom. You are duty bound for that one. Hence, you have to take on the war and kill them. By doing such acts, you will not be attracted for any punishment, or sins will not accrue. That is the meaning of Bhagavad Gita. In the day-to-day world, let us see how this is applicable. Now let us say a Supreme Court judge or a High Court judge is there. A criminal comes, or Kasab's case only you take, or that Afzal Guru's case you take. And now the Supreme Court judge awards a capital punishment, that he should be hanged till death. Now that means that now Supreme Court judge should accrue sins because he is killing somebody. He will not accrue any sins, because he is made to sit in that place, a judge place, which is supposed to be a neutral place. He is duty bound to give an impartial judgment. Now he has given impartial judgment because the person X has done so many heinous crimes. Hence, he has to be hanged because it is his duty. So this is the message of Lord Sri Krishna. Now let us say some person X is there, has murdered somebody on the road. He draws the punishment. He has accrued the sin and he will be punished. Suppose our army goes and kills the enemies of China or Bangladesh or this Pakistani enemies. In that case, we honor that soldier and we give him martyrdom, plus we give him so many medals, Ashoka Chakra, Paramavir Chakra, isn't it? We honor them, we salute them, we put their statues, or we call so many our places with those names, isn't it? We have a statue of Bhagat Singh, we have a statue of Sukhdev, so many freedom fighter statues are there, isn't it? Because they have done the same, killing only, but they have done for the sake of this country, their motherland, or for righteousness, for a right cause. They are meant to protect their motherland. They are doing, hence, even though act is killing, it draws lot of reward, whereas for a commoner, it draws punishment. Same act will draw the punishment because they are given that job, they are duty bound for that one, and it is not the common man's duty, that is to kill others. So this is the message of this one. So if somebody feels that I can kill somebody and quote this Bhagavad Gita, that Lord Krishna only said that we cannot kill anybody or nobody can kill us, hence I have even though I have killed, I should not be punished. This argument doesn't hold good for this reason only. That is, he is not meant to do this one. If some soldier is doing for the country, then that is a righteous killing. If a judge is awarding a punishment, that is a particular he is standing in that position and he qualifies for virtues only, not the sins. So that is how we have to draw the relevant meaning, a right meaning, a virtuous meaning for this one, because there are so many people who are devotees of this book and Lord Krishna and revere it. At the same time, there are people who may hate also. Recently, we have seen that Russia wanted to ban this Bhagavad Gita under the name that this induces the fight between brothers. So this is where they cannot derive the inner meaning. It's not the fight between brothers, it is a fight between good and the bad. That is, if bad, whoever it is, it may be his own kith and kin, his own brother, his own mentor, gurus, he has to be punished. That is what, then only there will be peace, and that law and order can be enforced. That is what is the meaning of this one, and not simple fight between brothers and brothers. So many such fights have happened, and none of those fights are revered or written in textbooks. Only this is revered, this is considered as a holy book, because this is teaching what is virtue, what is a non-virtue. So that is what is the meaning of this 19th verse. That is, Ayenam veti hantaram yaschenam manate hatam ubhau tau na vijanito nayam hanti nahanyate. And further Lord Sri Krishna continues, Na jayate mriyate va kadachi nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyaha ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. See here, this is a beautiful reference. Now Lord Sri Krishna is revealing this message by quoting some verse from some other book. So how interesting it is. So Lord Sri Krishna himself is telling some message of Bhagavad Gita. At the same time, he is quoting a quote from Kataka Upanishad. This is from some other Upanishad. He has brought in that one at that time, and he is quoting in front of Arjuna. So he says, Na jayate mriyate va kadachi. That is soul, pertaining to the soul. Kataka Upanishad says like this. That is, this soul doesn't qualify for this one. That is, he will never die, he will never be destroyed. So he is quoting, Lord Sri Krishna is quoting this quote. Nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuyaha. Either in past or in future, that it is that some once upon a time it was killed, or in future once upon a time I will destroy. No chance. From eternity to eternity, soul will be constant like this only. Nobody can kill. Somebody may say that today I cannot kill. Okay, fine. After some time I will kill it. At that time also it is not possible. So that is what is the Kataka Upanishad says. Lord Sri Krishna is quoting this to Arjuna. That Kataka Upanishad is like this. This is what is the real meaning. So you also follow this. So that is what the Lord Sri Krishna says. Na jayate mriyate va kadachi nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyaha. That is either in past or in future. You cannot destroy any soul. Ajaha. That is, ajo nitya means ajaha. Aja means janma. Aja means the one which is not born. That is, we are not born. The soul is like this only. Only the soul has got a body, physical body for its existence. The body is growing. The body is growing from infancy to childhood to adulthood, old age. But soul is like that only, constantly. Always in the same position, with same strength, with the same illumination. It is constant. That is what is the meaning of this one. Ajaha. Then nityaha. Nitya means constantly. The meaning of aja also looks something like this only, and nitya also looks like this only, and shashvata means constant. So you may feel that why Kataka Upanishad is telling three times the same matter, or why Lord Sri Krishna is repeating the same phrase. It's not like that. All the three words have their own different meanings. Ajaha means one that is not born. Ajaha. Nityaha means which will never die, which will stay. That is, it is not born and it will never die. So these two words have two different. Ajaha, Nityaha. Then Shashvataha. Shashvata also Nitya, constant only. The meaning looks like that, but Shashvata here the meaning is that at any given point of time it is like this. That is, first is which is not born, second is it cannot be destroyed, third is at any given point of time it is constant like this. So three words, three beautiful meanings. Even though they look similar, they have their own beautiful meanings. That is, Ajo Nitya Shashvatoyam Purano. Purana means very ancient. Soul is existing since very long time. Purano na hanyate. That is na hanyate hanyamane. That means uh, even though body dies, this will not die. This will not die. This will stay permanently. Body will die. Somebody may cremate. Somebody may bury the body. Somebody may put in fire. Somebody may throw in the skies for open air destruction. Parsis and all, they do like this in the open air only. So by any means, or somebody may drop in the water itself, so that through water it is disposed of. It's only a means of disposal. Panchabhutas, wherever it is there, it is disposed of in their respective principles. So that is, Lord Sri Krishna says that Ajoha, Nityaha, Shashvataha, Purana, very old, ancient one, na hanyate hanyamane. It cannot be killed, it will not be killed in future also. That is, this stays constantly. So this is how beautiful meaning we come across in Bhagavad Gita. We started from Matra Sparshastu. From 14th verse, we have reached only the 20th verse. And in my introduction also, I had told second chapter is a very long chapter, a very tough chapter. It has a crux of entire Bhagavad Gita encompassed in it. That is, lot of hidden meanings are there. As I said, there are separate books only on second chapter itself. So it is such a versatile and requires lot of concentration to understand this one, because superficial reading may not give much of the inner meaning. Hence, I already started Bhagavad Gita discourses with simple chapters, so that then we come across heavy chapters like Bhakti Yoga, 12th chapter, very simple. We should become devotees is a very simple. 15th chapter, very simple chapter. Purushottama Yoga. Then Daivasura Sampati Yoga, 16th, very simple chapter to understand. And then first chapter is of course only an almost an foundation or an introduction. Based on that Arjuna's grief only, we have developed this particular chapter or the entire Bhagavad Gita. Many classify Bhagavad Gita into three parts. That is, first chapter to second in one part, seventh to 12th in second chapter. That is, first one covers the actual grief, and the second part covers the knowledge or the means, and then third, sixth chapter, that is 13 to 18, they cover the further explanations and convincing example. Some classify like that also, but whatever it is there, whether we eat the banana from this end or that end, it tastes the same. Whether we eat a jaggery piece or a doll or a chocolate doll from head or tail, it tastes the same thing. The Bhagavad Gita, you read from any end, from any corner, any chapter, any verse, it gives the same beautiful meaning and the same message, nectarine message that is hidden in this one. So that is what is the message of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, coming to the next verse of this one. Now Lord says, Veda vinashinam nityam ya enam ajam avyayam katam sa purusha partha kam ghateti hantikam. Again, here Lord Sri Krishna, earlier Lord Sri Krishna quoted from Kataka Upanishad. Now Lord Sri Krishna is telling on his own that Veda Vinashanam, that is, this is Vinashana, this cannot be destroyed, this is there permanently. Nityam, permanently it is available. As I said, three beautiful meanings. Nityam, Enam, Ajam. Ajam means again without birth. Avyayam means cannot be destroyed. Vyaya, avyaya. Vyaya means to destroy or to subtract. That is, avyaya means cannot be subtracted. That is, it stays permanently in wholesome. Then, if this is the quality of a soul, then Lord Sri Krishna says, how do you consider that you can kill a body or destroy somebody? Arjuna said that I am destroying the bodies of my gurus, mentors by my arrows, piercing them. Now, Lord Sri Krishna says, they are all eternity to eternity, their souls are permanent, and how can you destroy they because it doesn't qualify for destruction itself. Again, similar meaning that we had seen in last verse of Kataka Upanishad. Here also it is more or less the same meaning, wherein Lord says that of course it is permanent, you cannot destroy it. Further, he quotes here. He is giving a quote that is Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grunhati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. That is, the journey of the body is like something like he is comparing this to a cloth. Worn out clothes are old clothes. When during festival occasion, suppose if I stitch new clothes and throw away my old clothes, nobody bothers about that one, or I don't cry, or you get your son or a daughter a new clothes and ask him to wear it. Old clothes, that child will throw off and wear very happily the new clothes. The child will never bother, or son, or they will never bother that because I am throwing my old clothes, because instead of old clothes they have got new clothes. Or not only child, everybody, child or adult, whoever it is there. Suppose if somebody gives 10 pairs of or 20 pairs of new clothes, he will immediately throw all the old clothes free of charge. He will throw them and he will start wearing new, that too with so much pleasure and funfully he will wear it, isn't it? So like that only Lord Sri Krishna says this body also has to be rejected like clothes only. When this becomes old, reject it like this, as if it is a cloth, because you will get another body. Now I have some 200 rupees or 500 rupees in my pocket. I go to a grocery shop, bring some goods for 500 rupees. I don't worry about it and I don't start crying, I lost my 500. I will not worry, because for I paid 500 rupees, instead of 500 rupees, I got some 10 kgs of rice or some 20 kgs of sugar, something like that I got. So I am carrying sugar. I gave the money, so carrying the sugar. Or I gave the money and carrying the rice. So we are not bothered. Like that, if this body is lost, new body is there for that soul. That is, one body is lost, new body is available for this one. Now the body can be anything. New body can be in the form of animals, birds, or whatever it is there. Suppose if you feel that no, I don't want to become a animal or some lower animal like a donkey or a dog, do good deeds. Human body is again assured, or deity, body of a deity is assured, or heavens are assured, and higher than heavens, that is eternal heavens or moksha, is also assured. If we do good deeds, one should be worried if he has done a bad deed, because he will become again some insect or something like that. If he feels, then we should not do those things. We should do good deeds. Then good fruits will automatically come, because Lord already he has told, "Na sato vidyate bhava, na bhava vidyate sata." We have seen this verse also just a few minutes back. So same thing God is assuring. If you want again this new body, again a old worn out body, that is a old person cannot walk normally, cannot see, the eyesight is diminished, hearing power is diminished, all his senses have stopped working, and so many inconveniences he faces. He cannot run. In that situation, if he is getting a very young body once again, which is full of energy, wherein again he has a perfect eyesight and ears, everything is again is come back to him, he should happily reject that body like the old clothes. That is what is Lord Sri Krishna's message, wherein he says that Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grunhati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirna. Jirna means after it has become very old and worn out, he will get one more body. Nanyani sanyati navani dehi, navani, new one he will get. So one should not worry. An intellectual one should never worry about all these trivial aspects, and he should enjoy. So that is what is the meaning of Lord Sri Krishna, or message of Lord Sri Krishna to Arjuna in turn to all the human beings, so that we also should learn so much from him. Further, he goes on to explain the qualities of the soul. Lord Sri Krishna says, Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na chainam kledayantyaapo, na shoshayati marutaha. This many of us have heard on many occasions this verse. Nainam chindanti. Chindanti means that is break into pieces. Somebody may say, I cannot destroy, I can make it into small pieces. No. Nainam chindanti shastrani. The weapons do not destroy this one. And nainam dahati pavakaha. That is, the fire also cannot burn this one. Soul, body it can burn, soul it will not burn. Na chainam kledayantyapo, the kledantyapo, that is, waters cannot wet this one. It is not wettable. It is not wettable, and na shoshayati marutaha. The air also cannot dry or do not qualify to dry the soul. They may dry the body, they may dry out water from our, drain out water from the body, fire will drain out water, air will also drain out the water, isn't it? From clothes, if you put them washed clothes, wet clothes, they become dry because of either heat, ironing, or even because of air, they get dried up. Whereas soul, it even if you put in any amount of air, they should not get dried up. You put in fire, oven, or anything, it doesn't qualify to be burnt down to ashes, and you cannot make into pieces. So that is what is the message. You cannot even wet also, it's not wettable also. So that is how Lord Sri Krishna is conveying the eternity of this soul. Hence, you don't worry about that one. Take on the fight and establish the peace. That is ultimate message. Why Lord Sri Krishna is telling to everything to dejected Arjuna? Because he was grieving. How can I kill? How can this can happen? He is telling that your purpose is to establish the dharma, establish the virtuousness, establish the peace. Hence, you destroy the enemies who are present in the form of your own kith and kin who have done bad deeds. Hence, they deserve to be killed, and you qualify for that one. That is what Lord Sri Krishna is conveying to Arjuna. And he says that soul is eternal. Hence, you don't worry that if you kill Dronacharya or Bhishmacharya, who are revered persons, no doubt they are very much revered, and don't worry that their journey will stop at this stage. They will acquire another new body. Again, they will begin their journey, and again, they will lead a glorious life. You will need not have to. They had hundreds of such lives earlier. Now also they are present in some body. After this journey also, they will be present in some body. So this is true for everybody. Everybody, whoever is born, he has to die. Whether it is animal or birds or insects or bacteria or virus or human, whoever is born, he has to die. This is the rule of the God. So everybody has to obey, whether they are of black color or white skin or rich or poor or whoever they are, or they stay in particular place, or they escape, or they stay in skies, wherever they are, they do not stay here permanently. They have to die. That is what is the message of Lord Sri Krishna, wherein he says the quality of soul, that nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na chainam kledayantyapo, na shushriti marutaha. Further again he continues a few more qualities of the same soul. He says that first he said nainam chinda, you cannot kill it, you cannot dry it, you cannot wet it. Now he is telling the same thing from other angle. How he is telling achedro, that is it doesn't qualify for again destruction or cutting into pieces. Achedroyam adahyoyam, that is, he says that it doesn't qualify to be burnt off. And further he says it doesn't qualify to be wetted. He further says it doesn't qualify to be dried up. That is what he is saying. That is achedroyam adahyoyam akledoshosya evacha nityaha sarvagataha. That is nitya, it is present permanently. Sarvagataha, it is present eternally. Everywhere it is present. That is Atman. But there are two things. One is Atman, other is Paramatman. Parama means superior. Soul, super soul. God is a super soul who is present. Hence, all these verses you can very well understand or apply in terms of God, and we are a small speck of that one. We enjoy only a little part of that one. So that is how we have to understand the meaning of this one. That is Akshetroyam Adayoyam Akle Doshosya Evacha Nityaha Sarvagataha. Sarva, everywhere it is present. Sthanu Rachanoyam Sanatanaha. That is, this is present from ages. It is not that the soul is born some few years back and then it has taken a form and then it will be destroyed. It's not like that. Eternally this was present. This soul was present eternally. It is present now. It will be present in future also. All the three tenses, past, present, future, that too from infinity to infinity or from eternity to eternity. This is constantly present. That is what Lord Sri Krishna is conveying here. Further, he again explains the quality of the soul, wherein he says that avyaktoyam, achintyoyam, avikaryoyam uchyate tasmadevam viditvainam nanushochitum arhasi. He says that avyaktaha, this cannot be seen. You feel that I can see, then only I will believe in that one. No, you cannot see that one. You cannot see, but still you have to believe, because you can very well make out the difference between a dead and alive person. That means something is missing in a dead person compared to a person who is alive. That aspect is soul, which you cannot see, but you have to accept it because it is present. Because nobody keeps a dead body in the house, they immediately dispose of whoever it is there, their own kith, kin, wife, husband, son, daughter, whatever it is there. They don't keep parents, they don't keep them because something is missing. So what is that missing? That missing aspect is the soul. That is what Lord Sri Krishna says, and he says that avyakta, it cannot be seen with the eyes or with any microscope or any such thing. Achintyoyam. Achintyoyam means you cannot imagine the qualities of that particular soul. It's, you can say that this qualifies for this one, or this has so and so qualities. This cannot, hence you can, because you cannot put in fire, you cannot burn it off to ashes, you cannot cut it into pieces, you cannot wet it, you cannot dry it. When this is the quality of that particular soul, then it is achintya. Then what it is? Achintya means beyond the imagination or beyond the understanding of everybody. Of course, animals are of a lower weight, they don't understand, and human beings have this thinking caliber. When human beings have this thinking caliber, definitely they also cannot make out the meaning of this one. That is what the Lord is saying. Ayabhuktoyam, achintyoyam. That is, you cannot think anything. It is beyond anybody's imagination. So now here, if you apply this to God, God is beyond imagination. God cannot be seen. You cannot understand the God completely. You cannot realize the God completely, which is such a large entity. That is, all the human beings on the earth and all the gods, including, they may count the dust particles present in the on this earth, but they cannot count the qualities of the God. As I said, He is complete. He is complete in himself. He is complete. He is present everywhere. Deshataha, kalataha, gunataha. That is, by qualities He is present. Omnipresent, omniscient, omnicreator, omnipotent. Everything is unique with the God. Hence, it is achintya. For humans also, it is applicable, but the quality or that quantity is a very small proportion, whereas for God, it is an unlimited proportion. So that is what it is. Avyaktoyam, achintyoyam, avikarya. That is vikara, means if something has changed its shape, it is a vikara. Avikara, that means it will not change its shape, it is present constantly. And that is what is the quality of the soul. That is what Lord Sri Krishna says. Tasmat, hence, O Arjuna, viditvainam nanashochitum arasi. That is, you will not have to worry about this quality, that you are destroying your brothers, you are destroying your kith and kin, you are bringing unruliness into the world, and you are doing so many things that will accrue the sins. You don't worry about it, because you are a king, you are a kshatriya, you are duty bound to establish the peace on this earth, protect the good ones and punish the bad ones. Like it's a duty of a police to punish the bad and protect the good. It is a duty of a judge to protect the good and punish the bad people. It is a duty of a government to protect the good people and punish the bad people. It is a duty of a army to fight with the enemies and protect their countries. So that is how Arjuna also has to protect at any cost and establish peace once again. That is what is the message of this one, wherein Lord is telling about this one. That is, avyaktoyam, achintyoyam, avikaryam uchyate, tasmatenam viditvainam nanushochitum arhasi. That is, you do not qualify to think about all these things. It is me. As a God, I can do all these things and dictate you, but you don't qualify to judge about this one. Now you are duty bound. You are being born as a Arjuna, as a Kshatriya, you have to take on the war. If you are born as a farmer, I would not have recommended to take on the fight. You should be doing farming. If you are born as a trader, you should be doing trading. But now you are born as a Kshatriya and a king, you are duty bound to do this one. Because Arjuna had said that I will become a mendicant, I will become a sannyasi, then I will run away to, I will do penance and attain higher goals instead of taking fight with my kith and kin. That was the argument of Arjuna. Now Lord Sri Krishna says you cannot run away from your duty. If a soldier with all this gun and all from a battlefield, if he says that I will run away on the Indo-Pak border, or if war is happening on Indo-China or something like that, and if he says that I will run away from the war, this is not possible. Now he has become a soldier, he has given his consent, he has to take on the fight. Either he will be victorious or he will die. Even if he dies, he will be respected and he will be given medals, Ashok Chakra or something like that. He will be given medals. Or if he becomes victorious, he will be honored because he has won the war. All the victorious, they will be again celebrated. He will become a celebrity. If he dies, again he will become attain martyrdom. So both sides he is victorious. Hence, Lord Sri Krishna says that you have to take on the fight. You cannot escape from that one. And further, Lord Sri Krishna says, Atachainam nityajatam nityam va manyase mrutam tathapi tvam mahabhavo naivam shochitum arhasi. And suppose, taking into consideration, supposing, let me agree with you for a moment, that you are considering that I am killing and so many things are happening. Atachainam nityajatam nityam va manyase mrutam. Even if you feel, then also you don't deserve, or you are not qualified to worry about this one, because you are only an ordinary puppet in my hands. Every human being is only an ordinary puppet at the hands of God. Suppose if I want to become something, a billionaire, I cannot become that billionaire. If I want to become like a person X, I cannot become. Because unless and until it is decided by the God. That is the meaning of this one. This very destiny that is there, it has decided somebody like that, and one has to play that role very perfectly. And even if you think that this soul I am killing, even then also you don't qualify, because it is me who controls them, not you. You are only a mere puppet. You are now a kshatriya, a king. Duty, want to do your duty. That's all worry. If a judge worries in his chair that, oh, I am killing, I am daily awarding one death punishment or hanging to every culprit, so I am accruing sins. No, he has accepted to become a judge. He is sitting on the chair. He has to punish. That is his duty. If a soldier is there, he has to take on the fight, and whatever it is there. If he says that I have killed 100 soldiers, I have killed 200 soldiers, more number of soldiers, enemies he kills, more honor he will get. So that is how it is here. Arjuna, we have to read in that context how Lord Sri Krishna is inspiring Arjuna to establish the peace. That is how we all face these situations in our day-to-day life. Many a times we come across so many such unfortunate situations or helpless situations. In all those situations, how can we take the right meaning of the message and then take on this one? So that is what Lord Sri Krishna is conveying here. Further, he says that jatasya hi dhruva mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasma apariharyarte natvam shochitum arhasi. Lord Sri Krishna says that jatasya hi dhruva mrityu, that is jatasya, whoever is born has to die. Complete, 100% true. And whoever is dead, whoever died, he has to take birth. This is also equally true. That is, whoever dies, he has to take a birth. Whoever takes birth, he has to die. Even Shankaracharya also sang, isn't it? Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam bhaja govinda. So here Lord Sri Krishna says, of course, Shankaracharya wrote it later on. Originally is Lord Sri Krishna's only, wherein he says that jatasya hi dhruva mrityu, that is, whoever is born has to die, whoever dies has to take birth. Unless until he attains the eternal moksha. Once he attains the eternal liberty or moksha, there is no question of birth and death. The fear of birth and death will vanish in that stage. Even in heavens also there is birth and death. After the time is over, they will be thrown back on the earth itself for again to be born once again. As long as they have accrued virtues, they will enjoy the heavens. Again, when the virtues are over, like taking some money to a picnic spot, the day money is over, we have to come back to our place. Isn't it? Because our money is exhausted. Like that, heavens also, if we do some ordinary virtues, we will go to heavens, we will enjoy whatever it is there, then fall back again on the earth, maybe as a very reputed person, or maybe as a very nice person or a powerful person, something like that. But coming back is sure. If somebody attains the moksha or eternal heavens, no question of coming back. There is no birth, no death. It is free from all birth and death. A birthless, deathless state. That is what we have to attain here, is the message of Lord Sri Krishna. Don't simply long for the heavens. You long for the eternal heavens or the moksha, and do such acts. That is what Lord Sri Krishna is telling. Wherein he says, Jatasya hi dhruva mrityu dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmat apariharyarte nattum shoshitum arhasi. And further he says, Avyaktadini bhutani vyaktamadhyani bharata avyakta nidhananyeva tatra ka paridevana. Then he says, all these bodies, let us start with my example only. I was not existing before some 60 or 60 years. I will not exist after 60 years also. That is, I am present only in this middle phase. So where I was before 60 years, where I was before 100 years, where I was before 1000 years, I do not know. Where I will be after 100 years, I do not know. Where I will go after 10,000 years, I do not know. So that is, I am present only in this transitory moment. That is, Avyaktadini Bhutani Vyaktamadhyani Bharata. In between only we exist, and Bharata Avyakta Nidhananya. Again after death, again we cease to exist, or we do not exist. Hence, if that is the truth, if that is the eternal truth, why do you worry? Paridevana. Some text it is Paridevana, some text it is Parivedana. Both texts are there, both have the same meaning. Whether it is Paridevana or whether it is Parivedana, it has the same meaning, and same message is conveyed here. So with this, I think we have covered from 14 to 28 with this one. Now again further verses, again let us discuss whenever we come across further time. And I will read this one so that it establishes a continuity, because this needs a lot of explanation. Again, this single verse itself will require more than half an hour explanation.